Hello, my name is Rick Green and I'm the editor of the Meadville Tribune, and with me is reporter Mike Crowley. We'd like to thank you for joining us for our Meet the Candidate session today. We're joined by Don Erdley, who's running for Meadville Mayor. We'll first turn it over to Mr. Erdley for an introduction or opening statement. The floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Don Erdley. I'm running for mayor of Meadville at this point in time. I'm a 42-year resident of the city. I was born and raised, or grew up and raised in Cochrane, Pennsylvania, but married a Meadville girl, and I've been here for the last 42 years. I was a police officer in town for a period of time before I pursued my master's in education and started teaching school, and then I just retired from school teaching this June. And currently I'm really busy on some remodeling projects.
All right, to start us off, first question is, how would you evaluate City Council's performance over the past 4 years?
I think it's been very lackluster over the past 4 years. I think they've done very little to encourage business development in town other than small downtown 1 or 2 employee businesses. There's been no active pursuit of any manufacturing jobs or transportation jobs or any of those sorts of things, and consequently our property taxes are extremely high and not a lot to encourage the young people in town to stick around.
What would you like to see done differently?
I'd like to see some active pursuit of businesses that employ more than 1 or 2 people, whether that's in the transportation field or whether that's in the manufacturing development. People need to be encouraged to do that. I think entrepreneurship is sort of a dying entity right now, and I think that needs to be encouraged.
That sounds like that's your top priority. What would be your top 4 priorities for the next 4 years if you're elected?
Well, my top priorities would be to increase our population, to give younger people more reason to stick around, other people to move into this area. That would be job 1. My second priority would be to try to develop more parking in the downtown area. I think that's there's a serious lack of parking availability, and the current city council did everything to encourage the development of another park that's going to be underutilized down there when that could have probably been 18 to 20 additional parking spaces. And then my other priority would be to eliminate the rental inspection program. I think that's overkill. There was already a safe housing ordinance on the books. It just needed to be enforced. I think it's I own several rental properties. I own 1 rental property in town right now at this point, but I have in the past owned as many as 13 units in town, and that the rental inspection program produced nothing as far as I know, as far as findings of dangerous housing. But as a result of the imposition of the rental inspection program, rents have increased dramatically in the Meadville area.
Can you give an example, like how much they've gone up, like for one of your properties maybe?
Well, one of my properties, be honest with you, I have an older gentleman living in one of my properties that's lived there for probably 20 years, and I haven't raised his rent at all, only because I don't want to put him out. But, the upstairs apartment in that building, I'm now charging $800 a month, and at one point that was $500 a month.
Okay.
All right, to follow up on that, Meadville faces a number of challenges with affordable and quality housing. What steps, besides eliminating the rental inspection program, is there anything else that Mayor and City Council should be doing along those lines?
I think there should be, the housing blight in town, like there are a lot of blighted properties in town, but they're not rental units. The majority of the houses that I drive past on streets in town that are in fair disrepair are privately owned homes. I think there needs to be some sort of encouragement for those people to pick up their properties, to make them look a little bit more appealing and make it a more comfortable looking environment for them to live in. I'm not exactly sure how to do that, but I know in talking with past councilmen, They said that they inspected all properties in every ward over like a 2-year period they would hit each ward in town and inspect the properties to look for hazardous conditions.
Would that, see, you said eliminate the rental inspection program, but inspect owner
Not
occupied
necessarily
homes?
inspect them. I think there needs to be some kind of encouragement, whether it's tax breaks or whatever, to encourage them to keep their property up. Like I said, I'm not an experienced politician. I've just spent a lot of time complaining about the system, and now that I have retired, I felt that I had a little bit of time to step in and attempt to do something about it.
Would increased enforcement be part of the strategy there?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think, the current inspection program with sidewalk disrepair, they go around and they paint the paint on the sidewalks, and then it doesn't seem like a whole lot gets done with it. My daughter lives on North Main Street right now, and she had an issue with the city as far as her sidewalk goes. She contracted somebody to come in and fix it up, and the minute he started working on it, they came in and shut him down because of the shade trees. And the shade tree committee said, "Oh, you can't do that," but how else was she supposed to repair her sidewalk? I mean, it was the roots from the shade trees that were causing the sidewalk to heave. I think there just needs to be more common sense in dealing with the inspection programs.
And just another question on the on housing. Council last year adopted an action plan, and they wanted to set a goal for adding 50 new units of affordable housing by 2028. What's your position on that? Is that would that be a priority? Would you like to eliminate that? Would you like to?
I'm not sure that's actually council's job. The current council seems to have sort of a socialist mindset where they want to make everybody out there dependent upon the government for housing. I think there needs to be encouragement for private individuals to develop housing. I'm not sure that they're, whatever that, I can't remember what the term was at one of the city council meetings I was at, that they were going to allow people to build small units in the back of their house.
Accessory units?
Yeah, accessory units in residential areas, and it's going to turn into a rental nightmare. I just don't see that. I see it won't be long until somebody parks an Airstream trailer in the back and builds a deck on the front and says it's an accessory housing unit.
Right, a consistent theme heard from residents and business owners, especially as parking has become more of a focus over the past couple of years, is the idea that the city needs additional downtown parking, which you've already mentioned. How do you feel about downtown parking and the parking deck, and how should city council respond to these calls for more parking, cheaper parking?
Well, first of all, I think city council needs to sell the parking deck off to somebody that's going to be able to then afford to maintain it and keep it up. And I think that was kind of in the works, but I don't know where they're at with that as far as the actual sale of that parking garage goes right now. But we can't afford to lose that parking garage, but the city also can't afford to repair the parking garage, as they still owe over $600,000 on it, I believe, and it's going to cost them well over $600,000 to repair it. So I think eat the money that's owed on it and sell it off to somebody for a very reasonable price, so that they can then afford to put the money into repairing it.
Outside of the parking deck, you mentioned the parklet over on Park Avenue.
Yeah, right behind that parklet that they put in, there's a park that the ARC put in years ago, and to be honest with you, I've never seen anybody in there other than maybe early Saturday mornings driving over to Home Depot or going to Tim Hortons to get a cup of coffee. I might see a few people crashed out on a bench in there, but that's it. I don't know as we need that space in town as much as we need additional parking spaces in town.
And they raised the prices on the parking to 50 cents an hour.
Yeah, and I don't think that's unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I think but I think there needs to be more available parking. I mean, we want to encourage people to use the downtown area, but it's difficult to find a parking place these days.
Around Crawford County, we're hitting into the budget season, and a lot of times, there's talk of payment in lieu of taxes with the nonprofits. How, if you're elected, how as a mayor would you work with Crawford County, local nonprofits, the college, the hospital to strengthen partnerships and to address challenges?
It's my understanding that approximately at least 40% of the property in town is not taxable because it's owned by nonprofits, predominantly the college and the hospital. And I think that the payment that they're making in lieu of taxes is woefully short of what those properties would generate from the, being a taxed piece of property. I feel the pinch every time I pay my property taxes, and I'm sure everyone else does, and wondering how probably less than 60% of the city can still continue to fund 100% of the city. So I would actively pursue increasing that payment in lieu of taxes from those nonprofits.
Any plans to do that, or
like I said,
some arm twisting, or
I'm not a politician. I have very little involvement in politics in general, but I'm sure there is a way to get that to happen. I know that as far as the college goes, that's a state issue, but as far as I know, nobody on the current council has pursued that through any of our state representatives to get that, to see if that can get done, because I'm sure we're not the only city in Pennsylvania that's dealing with the same situation.
All right. One of the big concerns over the past couple of years has been the city's lawsuit against Crawford County over reassessment. Is that something that you support? Is reassessment something that you'd like to see, or that you think would benefit or hurt the city?
I don't know if it would benefit the city or not. I mean, it's something that I haven't really looked into, other than I know that the reassessment is actually very expensive to conduct. And, it's, in some way we would have to see that a reassessment would actually recover the money that it costs to conduct it. And like I said, I don't know a whole lot about that situation there, other than it sounds like an exorbitant amount of money just as an excuse to raise taxes on the citizens of Meadville.
well, if you were elected and you had the majority on council, would you let the lawsuit play out, or would you try to take action to just withdraw the lawsuit?
Like I said, I don't really know what the situation is there with the lawsuit and the reassessment. I know that the county seems to think it's necessary. They're getting pressure from other people. I'm not sure that the city can afford it. So it would have to be something that could be done in an affordable fashion and show that it would generate a return that would justify the spending of the money on the assessment. I know it's been many years since the reassessment's been done. I mean, how long has that been?
Over 50 years.
So I'm sure that, and property values have increased considerably over the past 50 years. So there could be something there with it, but I just think that the cost of it has to be seriously looked into.
What's your approach to ensure that Meadville and the community has a good relationship between the residents and law enforcement?
Well, as a former police officer, I think that's very important, and I think Chief Stefanucci's doing a very good job of getting his officers out there into the public eye, and they have a good relationship with the community overall. I think in the national news, they tend to make police officers look like they're the villain all the time, but I don't think that's the situation here in Meadville. I think the relationship between the police and the community is pretty good.
We had one incident that drew a lot of attention over the summer, where a viral video was widely seen. Do you think that was handled well? Is that a cause for concern? Or?
No, I don't think it's any cause for concern. I think it was handled appropriately.
And then just to follow up on one of the questions from earlier, your top priority, I think you said, was attracting more business.
More business and more residents into the area.
So along those lines, any specific ideas on strategies that could be tried to accomplish that?
I just think if the city would establish a connection with the Small Business Association and other places that provide loans and advice and suggestions to people that want to get into their own businesses, I think that would be something that would be very worthwhile.
Okay, those are the questions we have. We'll let Mr. Erdley finish with a closing statement or issue that he would like to talk about.
Well, I would just like to see the city begin to prosper, and I know that's a problem with most third-class cities throughout the state of Pennsylvania and probably throughout the nation. I mean, the population's decreasing. So I think that our main priority should be to provide some sort of incentive for our young people to stay in the community and to bring other people in. And I believe that would happen through increased employment opportunities in the area.
All right. I'd like to thank Mr. Erdley for joining us and you, the viewer, for checking out our series. We'd like to remind you to vote on November 4th, and you can watch all of our interviews on our website, meadvilletribune.com, or on our YouTube channel at Meadville Tribune Media. Thank you.